Pour hydrogen peroxide straight down a slow drain, and 9 times out of 10, you just wasted a bottle. I watch people do this constantly. They grab the brown bottle from the medicine cabinet, dump half of it down the sink, wait 5 minutes, and wonder why the water still backs up around their ankles in the shower. It's not that peroxide doesn't work on drains. It absolutely can. But the way almost everybody uses it is backwards. They treat it like bleach. Pour and walk away when peroxide needs contact time, the right concentration, and a clear pipe to actually do its job. I've cleaned out drains in restaurants, apartment buildings, and houses that hadn't been touched since the Reagan administration, and the pattern is always the same. People reach for whatever's under the sink, use it wrong, get a little bit of improvement, and call it fixed. Then 3 weeks later, the smell's back, the water's slow again, and now they think the drain is just old or just needs a plumber. Half the time it doesn't. It needs to be cleaned correctly, with the right chemistry at the right strength. That's what this is actually about. Not the miracle fix, because there isn't one, but the method that actually breaks down what's sitting in your pipes instead of just perfuming it for a week. Here's what's actually happening in that drain, and it's grosser than most people want to picture. It's not one clog sitting there like a hairball you can grab with tweezers. It's layers. Grease from cooking, soap scum, skin cells, hair, toothpaste film, coffee grounds somebody swore they never put down there. All of it sticks to the inside wall of the pipe a little at a time, like plaque on a tooth. Nobody notices for months because the drain still works. It's just a little slower. Water pools around your feet in the shower for 2 extra seconds before it clears. You don't think anything of it because it still clears. That's the trap. The buildup isn't stopping the water, it's narrowing the path the water takes. Same way a garden hose still sprays water even if you pinch it halfway. It just sprays weaker and slower. So the drain keeps working right up until the week it doesn't, and now you've got standing water, a smell that hits you before you even walk into the bathroom, and sometimes a black ring at the drain opening that looks like it grew there overnight. It didn't. That ring took months to build. You just weren't looking close enough to catch it early. I've pulled apart P-traps where the buildup was thick enough to hold its shape when I scraped it out, like wet clay, not liquid gunk. That's not a 5-minute problem anymore. And most people don't catch it until they're standing in 2 inches of gray water because by the time it's visible or it smells, the pipe's already narrowed by more than half. The early stage, the slow drain, the faint smell only after a hot shower, that's the stage where cleaning actually works fast and easy. Once it's fully clogged, you're not cleaning anymore. You're excavating. The reason this builds up so predictably comes down to temperature and what's actually going down your pipes, and it's simpler than people think. Hot water melts grease and soap scum enough to wash it down the drain, but pipes, especially the ones running through an exterior wall or under a slab, cool that water fast. By the time it's a few feet into the pipe, the grease is already re-solidifying, sticking to whatever's rough on the inside of that pipe, which is usually old buildup, threading, or a joint. It's the exact same reason grease hardens in a pan once it cools. Nothing mysterious about it. It's just basic material behavior that happens completely out of sight. Hair does something similar, but mechanical instead of chemical. It doesn't dissolve, it tangles. One strand catches on a rough spot or a slight dip in the pipe, and every strand after that has something to grab onto. I've pulled hair clogs out of drains that were literally woven together with soap scum into something closer to felt than hair. That's not an exaggeration. I've seen it hold together when I pulled it out in one piece. Then there's the stuff people don't think of as drain waste at all. Toothpaste, lotion, shaving cream residue. These are designed to be smooth and slick on your skin, which means they're also good at coating the inside of a pipe smoothly instead of washing straight through. Add soap scum on top, which is literally soap reacting with minerals in your water to form a solid. That's just basic water chemistry, hard water especially, and you've got a pipe interior that's rough, sticky, and perfectly built to catch the next thing that comes down it. Cold weather makes it worse because cooler pipes mean grease sets up faster before it clears the trap. And in older homes, cast iron or galvanized pipes have interior corrosion that's rough by nature, basically sandpaper for anything trying to slide past. I've snaked drains in 1960s houses where the pipe itself, not what's inside it, was half the problem. New PVC is smoother and resists buildup better, but even that gets a film over time if nobody's ever actually flushed it clean. So it's not bad luck, and it's not just how drains are. It's temperature drop, mineral content, and rough interior surfaces working together every single day, whether you notice it or not. Understanding that matters because it tells you exactly what a fix actually needs to do, and that's where peroxide either helps a lot or does basically nothing depending on how you use it. We'll get into exactly why in a second, but first, let's talk about what people try first, because almost everyone reaches for the wrong tool before they reach for the right one. Mistake 1. Pouring hydrogen peroxide straight down a slow drain and expecting it to work like bleach. This is far and away the most common mistake, and I get it, because bleach and peroxide look similar in the bottle and people assume they behave the same. They don't. Bleach is a strong oxidizer that works fast because it's aggressive and doesn't need contact time to start breaking things down. Hydrogen peroxide, especially the 3% you buy at the pharmacy, is a much weaker oxidizer. It needs time sitting against the surface it's trying to break down, and it needs that surface to actually be exposed, not sitting under 2 inches of gray standing water. Here's the problem with pouring it into a drain that's already slow or clogged. The peroxide hits the water sitting in the trap and just dilutes instantly. It's not touching the actual buildup on the pipe walls. It's mixing into a puddle and getting weaker by the second. 3% peroxide diluted further in standing water is basically doing nothing by the time 5 minutes pass. I've seen people do this 3 days in a row, same result each time, because they never address the fact that there's water blocking contact in the first place. What actually needs to happen is the standing water has to be cleared first, even partially, so the peroxide can sit directly against the pipe wall where the buildup actually is. That's a completely different situation chemically. Contact time against a surface is what makes an oxidizer work. Contact time diluted into a puddle of gray water does almost nothing, except maybe cut a little bit of smell temporarily. Mistake 2. Using it as a one-time flush-and-forget fix, instead of understanding it's a maintenance tool for early-stage buildup, not a tool for a fully packed pipe. This one trips up people who did their research and know peroxide is a legitimate cleaning agent, but they misjudge what stage their drain is actually at. Peroxide is genuinely good for breaking down organic buildup, soap scum, biofilm, the slimy layer that causes most drain smells, when that buildup is still a thin film. It is not strong enough, on its own, to eat through a fully packed, months-old clog of hair, grease, and mineral scale sitting solid in a P-trap. I've had people pour peroxide down a drain that's basically fully blocked, wait overnight expecting a miracle, and then come back frustrated that it doesn't work, when the actual problem is they used a maintenance-strength solution on a problem that needed mechanical removal first. It's like using a toothbrush to clean a chimney. The tool works fine, it's just wrong for the job at that stage. The tell here is simple, and something I always check first. If water is not moving at all, or moving extremely slowly even after you've cleared visible debris, peroxide alone is not going to solve it. You need to physically remove the bulk of what's blocking the pipe, hair, solid buildup, whatever's actually plugging it, and then use peroxide afterward to clean and disinfect what's left on the pipe walls and prevent it from rebuilding fast. Used in the wrong order, peroxide isn't a failure of the product, it's a failure of sequencing, and that mistake alone accounts for most of the "I tried it and it didn't work" comments I hear. Mistake 3. Mixing hydrogen peroxide with other cleaning chemicals, especially bleach or ammonia-based cleaners, thinking it'll boost the strength. This is the mistake that worries me the most, because it's not just ineffective, it's genuinely dangerous, and I've seen people do it without any idea what they were creating. The instinct makes sense on paper. If a little bit of one cleaner helps, more chemicals should help more, right? Wrong. And this is where people get hurt. Mixing hydrogen peroxide with bleach creates a reaction that releases oxygen gas rapidly and can produce enough pressure and heat to be a real hazard in an enclosed space like a bathroom. Mixing peroxide with ammonia-based cleaners, which includes a lot of common glass and multi-surface cleaners, produces toxic fumes that can genuinely hurt your lungs in a small, poorly ventilated bathroom. And combining peroxide with vinegar, something a lot of natural cleaning advice online actually recommends, creates peracetic acid, which is a corrosive substance that can irritate skin, eyes, and lungs at even moderate concentrations. I've walked into jobs where someone mixed a drain cocktail of whatever was under the sink, got a chemical reaction they didn't expect, and ended up with a bathroom that smelled toxic for hours and pipes that were no better off than before. None of these combinations make peroxide stronger in a useful way. They just create unpredictable reactions, and in a small bathroom with the door closed, that's not a risk worth taking for a slow drain. If you're using peroxide, use it alone, and give the space time to air out before and after. There's one more mistake I want to flag because it's smaller, but it trips people up constantly: using the wrong concentration entirely. Most people only have access to 3% peroxide from the pharmacy, which is fine for maintenance cleaning, but genuinely weak for anything beyond light buildup. Some people go online, find that higher concentrations exist, 6%, 12%, even higher, and buy those thinking stronger is simply better. Higher concentration peroxide is more aggressive, but it's also more likely to react with organic material fast and produce heat and foam rapidly, especially in a confined pipe space. That's not automatically dangerous the way mixing chemicals is, but it changes how you need to use it. Shorter contact time, more caution, definitely not something to pour and forget. Most residential drain maintenance genuinely doesn't need anything above 3%, used correctly. People chase strength when the actual fix is technique. But there's one step in the actual method that almost nobody does, and it's the single biggest reason peroxide doesn't work for most people. We're getting into that right now. Solution. Here's the method I actually use broken into stages, and every stage matters. Skip one and you're back to pouring liquid into a puddle and hoping. Stage 1. Clear the standing water and remove visible debris first. Before any chemical touches this drain, you need contact with the actual pipe surface, not a diluted puddle. If there's standing water, bail it out with a small cup or use a wet-dry vacuum on the drain opening to pull out as much water as possible. If there's a visible hair clump or debris right at the drain opening, pull it out by hand with a glove or use a plastic drain snake, the cheap, barbed plastic kind, not a metal one, for this step. You're not trying to fully clear the clog here, you're removing the surface-level junk so the drain can actually take in liquid, and so your peroxide has something real to work against instead of standing water to dilute into. Stage 2. Run hot water for 30 to 60 seconds, but not boiling. This softens whatever grease and soap scum buildup is sitting right at the surface, and it also confirms how slow the drain actually is before you start treating it. Boiling water is actually a mistake with PVC pipes specifically. It can warp the plastic at the joints over repeated use, so hot tap water is enough. You're not trying to clear the clog with water pressure, you're prepping the surface. Stage 3. Apply the peroxide directly, undiluted, and give it real contact time. Pour a full cup, sometimes more depending on drain size, of 3% hydrogen peroxide directly down the drain. Don't dilute it with water first. You want it hitting the pipe surface at full strength. Then walk away and let it sit for at least 20 to 30 minutes. And if the smell or slowness has been a problem for a while, I'll let it sit up to an hour. This is the step almost everyone skips. They pour and flush within 2 minutes because they're impatient or they don't realize contact time is what makes an oxidizer actually break down buildup. Peroxide isn't instant. It works by slowly oxidizing organic material and biofilm, and that process needs time against the surface, undisturbed, to actually happen. Pro tip: cover the drain opening loosely with a wet cloth or a small plate while it sits. This isn't something you'll find in a bottle's instructions. It's something I picked up doing restaurant kitchens where drains are under constant abuse. Covering it traps the fizzing action at the surface level instead of letting it just off-gas straight up and out, which keeps more of the reaction working against the buildup instead of just escaping into the air. It's a small thing, but on stubborn drains, it makes a noticeable difference in how much film actually lifts. Stage 4. Follow with a baking soda chase, not before, after. After the peroxide has had its full sit time, sprinkle about half a cup of baking soda directly into the drain, then flush with hot water for a full minute. People love the vinegar and baking soda combo because it fizzes dramatically and feels like it's doing something, but that fizzing reaction happens almost instantly and clears itself out before it's done much real work on old buildup. Baking soda after peroxide works differently. It's mildly abrasive and helps physically loosen film that the peroxide is already broken down chemically, so the hot water flush actually carries it away instead of leaving it resettling on the pipe wall. Stage 5. Mechanical follow-up for anything peroxide won't touch. If after all of this the drain is still slow, that tells you there's a mechanical blockage, hair, solid debris that no chemical treatment alone is going to clear, no matter how long you let it sit. This is where a proper drain snake comes in, run down as far as it'll go with a slow, twisting motion, not jammed straight down. For a shower or sink, 6 to 12 inches is usually where you hit the real clog, right around the trap. Pull out what you catch, don't push it further down, and then repeat the peroxide step once more afterward to clean whatever film is left behind on the newly exposed pipe surface. Stage 6. Maintenance, because this is where most people fail long-term. Once the drain is actually clear and moving well, the fix that keeps it that way is boring, but it works. Run this same peroxide treatment once a month, even when nothing seems wrong. That's the real difference between people who deal with this problem twice a year and people who deal with it every 3 weeks. Buildup happens slowly and invisibly, so the fix has to happen on a schedule, not just when there's already a problem you can see and smell. I tell people to pick a day, first of the month, whatever's easy to remember, and just do it as routine as taking the trash out. It takes 10 minutes, including sit time, and it's the difference between a drain that stays clear for years and one that's back to slow and smelly by next season. One thing worth being clear about, peroxide is not going to fix root intrusion, a collapsed pipe, or a clog that's actually further down the line past what a home snake can reach. If you've done all of this correctly, multiple times, and the drain is still backing up, that's not a peroxide problem anymore. That's a call a plumber problem. No shame in that. Chemistry and technique solve the buildup that happens from daily use. They don't fix a physically broken pipe. That's the actual method. Start to finish, no shortcuts, no waiting for a miracle in a bottle. If you've been pouring peroxide down a slow drain and wondering why nothing changed, it's almost always one of those steps getting skipped, usually the contact time, sometimes the standing water nobody bothered to clear first. Do it in order, give it the time it needs, and you'll actually feel the difference in how fast that water clears. If this helped you out, go ahead and subscribe. I put out videos like this every week. Real methods, nothing I haven't tested myself on actual jobs. And I'd genuinely like to know, drop a comment and tell me what your worst drain or cleaning problem is right now. I read through these and some of the best video ideas I've had have come straight from people's actual comments, not from me guessing what people are dealing with. If you're dealing with a smell that peroxide alone hasn't fixed, especially something that smells more like sewage than soap scum, go check out my video on P-trap dryout and sewer gas smells, because that's a completely different problem with a completely different fix, and pouring anything down the drain for that one won't touch it. I'll see you in the next one.